Well, hello there, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. It's Wednesday, which means it's time for employment law. I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer with Samfiru Tumarkin LLP, and I am here right now live, right here live to answer your questions, to help you, to educate you, to inform you about employment law. This is my live stream session. You see me here at least once a week, usually on Wednesdays. Come on and answer your questions and take some problems off your mind and deal with them instead. Again, my name is Lior Samfiru. They call me the employment lawyer. I'm one of the founding partners of Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. Our firm, you can find us in Ontario, in BC, and in Alberta. So if you're in one of those places, you're in the right place right now. You can ask your questions about employment law and workplace rights, and hopefully get some of those questions that you have on your mind resolved. There's a lot of rights that you have. We have fantastic employment law rights here. You have rights that prevent your employers from just changing your job. You have rights that require the company to accommodate you. You're requiring the company to take you back if you're taking a leave of absence, a medical leave of absence, not to mistreat you, to pay you full severance up to 24 months. So many rights, so many laws. Unfortunately, not everyone understands their rights. I'll take it a step further and I'll say most people don't understand their rights. Well, you don't have to worry about that right now because you have an opportunity to understand and know your rights. And it's as simple as listening to the session, even better though, asking a question. Whether you're actually dealing with a workplace issue right now, you can ask me about that. Or maybe it's something you've always wondered. Hey, I'm always wondered if my boss is allowed to do this. Don't need to wonder anymore. You can get an answer right now and sleep easy with that answer, knowing the truth, knowing what to do and say. So if you're watching me right now, I'm so grateful that you've joined me. I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer. Now, the next step I want you to take is to keep me busy and ask questions. I see questions are starting to come in. Bring them on. I'll answer all of them. There are no bad questions, okay? There are no such thing as a silly question, a bad questions. There's only answers, there's only solutions, and things that you can do to solve those problems. Now, before I start answering, let me give you some other contact information. This is a 30-minute session. If you want to connect with me and my team off social media after these 30 minutes, it's so easy to do. All you have to do is go to employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca. You see that address on the screen, and phone number is right there. So is the email address. All the contact information you can ever need is there. And of course, if you want to take some time, you can learn so much more about employment law just on that website, employmentlawyer.ca. So check it out. It's your best friend, if you will, when it comes to employment law and reaching my team and I. But right now, you don't even have to worry about that. Now it's even simpler than that. All you have to do is type a question on that box on your screen, hit enter. It'll pop up on my screen. I'll see it, I'll read it, and of course, I'll give you that answer. So I think we get started. Again, I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer, live here with you, wanting and asking and demanding your questions. So let's get to it. Let's get to answering some questions live here. First question comes to us from Reddit from Masters. My employer has stopped paying my commission monthly and is now giving me a bit of a runaround. What are my rights with this? My commission payments are part of my employment contract. So it's very simple, actually. Your employer has to pay you the money that it owes you at the time it's supposed to pay you. It's one of the most fundamental obligations that employers have. Pay me what I'm owed and pay me on time. Simple as that. And that includes commissions, that includes bonuses, that includes my salary, of course, that includes all components of compensation. So if your employer is not doing that, they're doing something illegal. So there's a couple of things here. If you just want them to pay, one of the things you could do is have us send a letter on your behalf. That gets resolved. If you just want them to pay, you can also file a claim with the Ministry of Labor. They'll make them pay. But there's something else here. By not paying you on time, by, as you say, giving you the runaround and not doing what they're supposed to, you may be able to consider this to be a constructive dismissal. In other words, by your employer playing these games and doing something illegal, you can look at your employment, if you wanted to, as if it has been terminated, constructive dismissal. That means you could leave and get not just your commission owed, but your full severance as well. So you have that opportunity. If your employer is not paying you what it's supposed to, not paying you on time, that's a big deal. Easily a constructive dismissal. So ultimately, what you have to decide is, do you just want to get the money and continue working? Or have you had enough and you want to leave, you want to get your severance, get your commissions and move on? If it's the latter, if you want to pursue a constructive dismissal, we need to talk before you do anything, all right? If you just want the money, Ministry of Labor may work just as well. Okay, hopefully that makes sense, Masters. I'm still here if you have any follow-up questions. Happy to answer more. See, that was our first question of the day. See how easy it is to get that question asked and get an answer to it. Masters did that. You can do that as well. Take the time right now to articulate that question and put me on the hot seat so I can answer it. Of course, I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer with Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. This is my live stream session on employment law. And I think we continue to do what we're supposed to, which is to answer more questions. All right, let's see who's up next. And that is Amber. Amber has our next question. Amber says, my sister works for a bank and is going to get downsized in the next round of layoffs. She thinks, are they likely owed anything more than the minimum, or are those contracts ironclad? First of all, banks usually don't have contracts limiting severance. Even if they did, they wouldn't be enforceable with the bank. So yes, your sister is 100% going to be owed more than the minimum. Pretty much everyone is. So yes, she should not accept anything without speaking to us. And I've had hundreds of cases with banks over the years. Just because you work for a bank, you think they know better, does not mean that they're going to pay or offer the employee what they're owed. We sometimes need to get involved and give them a bit of a kick in the pants so that they can actually comply with their obligations. So Amber, your sister needs to do the right thing, the smart thing, the easy thing. Connect with me or my team so we can assess what she's owed. If she's right and she loses her job, they're going to offer her some severance. She needs to have it reviewed. If it's fine, it's fine. If it's not fine, we'll get her what she's owed. To connect with me and my team, that address you see on the screen, so simple. All she has to do, and you as well, or anyone else, go to employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca to connect with me and my team. Looking forward to speaking with her. Great question. You're doing the right thing by asking it. Now the next step is to reach out to me as soon as she lost that job. All right, Amber, thank you for that question. Very, very good one. I one more. I see some more questions here. Don't hesitate. If you're watching is fantastic. I bet you'll learn a lot. Even better, ask the question. Ask what's on your mind. Find out how to deal with your workplace problem. Find out what your rights are. If you just joined us and you turn on social media and you're wondering who I am, welcome. I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer with Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. And I'm answering live questions about employment law, workplace rights, all that good stuff. And I'm going to continue doing that right now. The next question from Facebook, and this is from Dusty. I recently took a job and had to complete 10 plus hours of online training before I started working, of which was stated to be compensated for. I got my pay for my shift, which was only a week long. It was a seasonal position, and notice I did not get paid for my training. When I emailed my supervisor, she said she would try her best to pay me, although she did not promise because she didn't have any access to pay until the middle of the month, as she is a temporary replacement. What should I do? Well, here's the thing. I mean, I can help you with that by sending a letter. You can file a complaint with the Ministry of Labor, but that's also going to take a week or two to get that resolved, if not longer. So if they're going to pay, as a practical matter, it's not right what they did, but they should have paid sooner, but they'll pay. Now, if they say, well, we don't think we should pay you for this training, wait a second, that's a different issue altogether. Get us involved or file a complaint with the Ministry of Labor. The reason for that, of course, is there's no such thing as free training. If the company requires you to do something, they require it, they have to pay you for that time. They can't say, well, it's not work, it's training, but it's mandatory. You have to do it, and we're not going to pay you. Doesn't work that way. If you have to do mandatory training, you must be paid for doing that. So if I'm understanding correctly, Dusty, they're not saying they're not going to pay. It's more of an administrative thing. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. If that's the case, they'll pay and everything is fine. If they ultimately refuse to pay, let me know and I'll help you. But very important question. I get that asked often about training. No. If you ask for some training and the company agrees, they may not have to pay you. But if they tell you you have to do this, they have to pay you. All right. So I think that makes it clear. Follow-up questions, issues, something is not clear. Ask. I am still here, not going anywhere. And I want to get as many answers to you as possible. I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer with Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. And I'm going to continue answering questions right now. Let's see. Flo G has a question. I was put on an administrative leave. I have been targeted for using a lot of PFML. I don't know what that is. My boss is now trying to put the blame on me for something she was supposed to change within the process. Okay, I see 7 messages from you, Flo. If you have a question, ask the question. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not going to be able to read 7 messages here. So give me a quick synopsis. What's the issue? What's the question? I'm here, happy to answer, happy to help you, okay? Let's see. Alex has our next question. I've been working for a company over 9 years. No pay increase. What can I do to leave the company? I can't take it anymore. So Alex, legally speaking, an employer does not have the legal obligation to provide a pay increase. There's good business reasons, moral reasons, ethical reasons to do that, absolutely. But there's no law that says you must provide a pay increase as long as you, of course, you make at least minimum wage. So if you talk to the company and they refuse and you don't want to work there anymore, you're allowed to resign. You can resign at any time and find another job. There's no issue with that. So, you say you want to leave, you can leave. You can leave now, or you can leave when you find another job. No problem. It's not fair to work 9 years without a pay raise. Not fair at all. There's inflation, cost of living has increased, so it's completely unfair. But unfortunately, it's not illegal. So because it's not illegal, we can't force the company. But maybe if you tell them, hey, if I don't get a pay increase, I'm going to leave, maybe they'll increase it. Ultimately, you are allowed to leave, Alex, if you want to. You can resign. Depending on your job, you may need to give a bit of notice, but that's ultimately what you can do here. Hopefully that makes sense, Alex. If you have a follow-up question, hey, I'm here, not going anywhere. You can ask it. I'll answer it, I promise. Yeah, I think we should continue answering questions. Just by the way, reminder, if you've just clicked on here and you've just logged on and you want to know who I am, well, I'm the employment lawyer, Lior Samfiru, with Samfiru Tumarkin LLP. Every week at this time, at this place, I connect and I answer live your employment law questions, your workplace rights questions, your job questions, your severance questions, your harassment, accommodation, you name it. This is the time, this is the place. So you can ask it. You can ask it. It's free. I'm not charging anything. You're not going to get a bill. So let's make sure you get answers. Just like our next person up, which is Sue. Sue has our next question. Sue says, I'm being asked to step down from my role and take a lesser position because the business owner's son wants to take over from me. What can I do about this? So here's the thing. There's really 2 options. Either you do it, or you can consider that if they force it, you may be able to consider that a constructive dismissal. Now, a constructive dismissal happens when your employer makes a significant change to the terms of your employment. So this is a demotion. Yeah, that could be embarrassing. Pay could be impacted. Future prospects could be impacted. So this could be a constructive dismissal. So that means you could then leave and get severance, your full severance. Now, of course, I don't know enough about your previous job, the new job that they're offering, to be able to tell you if that is a constructive dismissal. I don't know enough about what your employer has changed. So I'd want to talk to you before you do anything. But that's the rule. When your employer makes significant changes, that could be a constructive dismissal. You don't have to accept it. Now, you can't physically stop your employer from doing that. All you could do is react and respond if they do. So if they force this change, you don't want it, you don't like it, you said no, but they do it anyway, that could be a constructive dismissal. Now you're owed severance, and that's what you have a right to pursue. So best advice, as I said, Sue, I want you to connect with me off air. You can do that by going to employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca, and I will help you. and make sure that we assess your situation correctly. Now, I mentioned to Sue severance. I mentioned she could be owed severance, and I've spoken about severance a few times. The question then that always gets asked, okay, is how much severance? Is it a week? Is it 20 months? What is severance from me? What am I owed? So here's how you find out, and my regular viewers know this. We have a tool that allows you to calculate in seconds and for free how much severance you are owed. We created that a few years ago. Well over 2 million people have used it. And all you do is you go to pocketemploymentlawyer.ca. Again, pocketemploymentlawyer.ca. You see that address right there? And when you go to pocketemploymentlawyer.ca, you click on the severance calculator. And that's it. You are right there. All the information is there. You answer a few questions from a drop-down menu, and it's going to calculate and tell you if you're owed this much, that much, up to 2 years severance. Completely free and anonymous. And you'll be shocked by how much you're actually owed. The reason I created this, 12, 13 years ago, is because of the fact that people assume they're only owed a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 8 weeks. All of that is wrong. You're owed a heck of a lot more than that. So you go to pocketemploymentlawyer.ca, use the severance calculator, and I will make sure that you have the information that you need. You can also contact me directly from the severance calculator if you want. So check it out and use it like so many people have. Always the first place you go to if you lost your job. But right now I am live. More questions have come in. I'm going to answer them right now. You can ask your question. You still have time. If you ask a question right now, you will get an answer from me before the session ends. Okay, so you have time. Get your questions answered. All right. Brianna has our next question. Brianna says, can an employer force you to use your personal phone for work-related things after hours? What right do I have to refuse this? I don't get paid for after-hours work either. It's just expected. No, they can't do that. They can't force you to work after hours. They can't force you to use your phone. So ultimately, you can say no, and you can't be punished for that. Okay, you can't be fired for cause. You can't be disciplined. You can say no. But take a step back for a second. Remember the general rule. An employer is allowed to let an employee go pretty much for any reason as long as severance is paid. So for example, your employer can say, this is a silly example, so pardon me. Your employer can say to you, you drive a red car. We only want people with blue cars. So we're going to let you go and pay you your full severance. An employer could do that. That's kind of dumb. No employer would actually do that, but they could as long as they pay proper severance. So for you, Brianna, that may mean that they may let you go if you don't use your phone, but they have to pay you full severance. That's not a termination for cause. It's just a regular without cause termination that they could do at any time. So is it possible that you lose your job because of that? It's possible, because you could lose your job for any reason, but severance has to be paid. Up to 2 years pay. And I don't know how long you've worked there and the type of job, so I can't say how much severance you're owed, but you could lose your job. But are you allowed to say yes without being disciplined? Are you allowed to say no without being disciplined? Absolutely. You can't be forced to use your personal phone. You can't be forced to do work outside your work hours. So always keep that in mind. And if anything happens, Brianna, reach me through employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca. All right, I think Flo G has tried to ask her question again. Let's see if I can answer it. Flo G says, I was put on administrative leave while already on a medical leave, and HR only told me while I was in the hospital before surgery. My access was removed. I believe it's retaliation. My boss is blaming me for process issues I had previously reported and documented, but now she refused to fix it. Now she's under scrutiny and shifted the blame to me. What should I do? Right now, honestly, I wouldn't worry about it. If you're already going to be off work for medical reasons, don't worry about that. Stay on a medical leave, follow your doctor's advice until you get better and ready to come back to work, whether it's another day, a week, a year, whatever it is. When you're cleared to go back to work from your medical leave, go back, tell your employer, I'm ready to go back to work. If they take you back, no problem. If they do anything to you other than take you back, call me. All right, and we'll discuss it and we'll figure out exactly what to do. But for now, because you're not working anyway, because you're going to be off anyway, regardless of any administrative leave, don't worry about it. Focus on your health. Nothing's going to matter. Nothing's going to change. You can't really do anything until you're clear to go back to work. Again, do what your doctor says about getting better and healthy. And when you're ready to come back to work, tell your employer. If they take you back, great. If not, I'll deal with it. I'll help you get back to work or get compensation. And to connect with me, Flo G, very easy to do. Just go to employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca. Very good. If you just joined us, I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer with Samfiru, Tumarkin, LLP. Still have time for you or your questions. You still have time to ask them. So ask them now. I promise you'll still get an answer. All right, let's continue. Limp Biscuit on YouTube has our next question. My mother has been working at a bar for almost 20 years and has been fired without cause so that the owner's wife can take her spot. He stated in the termination letter that she was fired without cause and that she would receive 8 weeks pay, 8 weeks for severance. We went in a counteroffer requesting 16 weeks. Why would you do that? And he sent her a text message today saying that he's not acknowledging the letter and that she will receive 8 weeks tomorrow. How should we proceed? Don't ever do what you just did. Don't ever ask for 16 weeks because your mother is probably owed 18 months. Okay? So imagine she's owed 18 months and you're asking for 16 weeks. That's what you call me if you lose your job, not after. Imagine the employer had accepted the 16-week offer. Now you'd be stuck with it when you're owed 18 months. Man, don't ever, ever do that. So yes, if your mother's been there for 20 years, again, I don't know exactly what she was doing in her age, but it's not going to be much less than 18 months, and it could be more than 18 months. So let's call it 18 months. I can resolve it. A letter from me, it's all that's going to take to resolve this. The reason your mother was let go is not really a factor. You know, it's not fair to let her go because he wants to have his wife work there. But legally, he can do that as long as he pays your mother her full severance. That's 18 months. Okay, so call me off air and I'll help you get that. A letter is going to get this done. Again, employmentlawyer.ca to connect with me, employmentlawyer.ca. Please, please, please don't try to negotiate on your own because you can make that mistake. You may not realize how much you're owed and you're asking for a lot less. The best thing that happened here for Limp Bizkit's mom is that the employer said no to the 16 weeks. If he had said yes, that this would be done and your mom would have lost on over a year's pay that she's owed. So let me help her. Easy to do. Again, employmentlawyer.ca to connect with me, and I'll make sure she's helped. All right, let's see. Let's continue answering questions. By the way, one more time, I'm Lior Samfiru, the employment lawyer with Samfiru, Tumarkin, LLP, here for the last 6 or 7 minutes answering your questions live. So please, please make sure you ask them so that I can help you and get you some answers. All right, let's see. Next question today is from Lapis Lazily. Sorry if I mispronounced. I think my employer is going to let me go while I'm on leave. What do I do if that happens? One thing, call me. Honestly, literally, it's all you do. You can't be let go on that leave unless the reason for termination has nothing to do with the leave. So if the whole department shuts down, they can let you go with your full severance. But for them to let you go while on that leave, it's going to be illegal because they have an obligation to reinstate you, and they don't know yet until the end of the leave if they're going to be able to do that. So in almost every situation, if you're only partway through your maternity leave, parental leave, and you're let go, it's illegal. So we can deal with that. Anytime you're let go, whether it's on a leave, not on a leave, after many years, after a few years, you call me. Okay, so we can assess the situation. It would be illegal to let you go. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully it's just a concern, but it never materializes. If it does, so important to call me right away. To reach me, all my contact information you can find on employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca. So let's see. I think you have a follow-up. Oh, sorry, you weren't talking about a mat leave. You're talking about a medical leave. I am sorry. You say I'm off for medical reasons. My bad. I probably won't be able to return for at least a year. Would that be a reason to let me go? Absolutely not. Not at all. You have to be allowed to come back to work. When you're ready to come back to work, let's say a year later, at that point, your employer has to make all efforts to bring you back. If they tried and there's just no job available, then they can let you go with severance. But then, not now. They can't say, oh, you're going to be gone for a year. That's a problem, so I'm going to let you go. That's illegal. That could be a human rights violation. So no, not at all. So you go off on leave, follow your doctor's advice. When you're ready to come back to work, contact your employer. If they let you go before then, or if they refuse to bring you back, you call me and I will deal with it. All right, that's important. It would be illegal for your employer to say, I have no idea when you're coming back, but I'm letting you go. Human rights violation, potentially, employment standards violation, illegal. Okay, hopefully they won't do that. If they do, now you know what to do. You can reach me through employmentlawyer.ca. Again, employmentlawyer.ca. All right, let's see here. Lisa has our next question. Oh, by the way, Flo G, no, I can't help in Washington, Ontario, BC, or Alberta. Lisa has our next question. I've worked for a company for 12 and a half years with no contract, and recently I found a new hire was making the same wage as me, being a manager, and I spoke out about it, and my employer wrote me up, threatening my employment with either time off, demotion, or complete dismissal. What are my rights? Well, the threat doesn't really mean much. What matters is if they actually do something. It would be illegal to let you go without severance. It would be illegal to demote you or to put you off work. The only thing your employer could do is let you go with full severance. As I was saying earlier, your employer can let you go pretty much at any time as long as full severance is paid. You've been there for 12 and a half years. You could easily be looking at a year's pay and maybe more than that, depending on the job you had and your age. So I'm not concerned about the threats. I'm concerned about, do they actually do something? You've done nothing wrong. So if your employer wants you gone, they have to pay severance, and they can't demote, they can't put you off work. Those would be constructive dismissals. So Lisa, if they do anything to you, call me, okay? employmentlawyer.ca, and I'll make sure to help you. John has our next question. How does severance get paid, one lump sum or over time period? That's something we negotiate. Oftentimes an employer wants to pay it one way, we negotiate it. So both are legal, and it's up to us to negotiate the best deal possible. Let's see. Nikki do. If work can be done from home, can the employer say no and force you to apply for long-term disability, or worse, fire you? So I think what you're asking is, if you can't work in the office, but you need accommodation to work from home, can they fire you? No. If your doctor says you need to be working from home for medical reasons, and they give you a note and you're able to do your job from home, they have to allow that. They have to. Under human rights legislation, they have a duty to accommodate. Okay? And if they refuse, that's a human rights violation. So it starts with the doctor's note, though. You have to have that doctor's note. If you have that doctor's note, then your employer has to abide by it. Any issues, problems, call me. Last question of the day, also from Nikki. Do employer policies regarding working from home override a psychiatrist's note for a person to work from home? No. The doctor's note is what matters. If you have a doctor's note, psychiatrist is a doctor, saying you need to work from home, doesn't matter what the employer's policies are, doesn't matter what they want, they have to accommodate. Human rights legislation, you have to accommodate, even if it's difficult, an employer has to accommodate. So Nikki, any questions or problems, reach me through employmentlawyer.ca. All right, I think I'm caught up on all the questions, and that's the time that we had for today. I promised you'll get an answer, and I've delivered. All of you've gotten answers. But again, I'm not going anywhere. If you want to connect with me today, tomorrow, anytime, employmentlawyer.ca is the place you go to. Very, very easy to do. Again, employmentlawyer.ca. All the contact information is right there. I hope you learned a bit about employment law and your workplace rights. Please don't wait until the next time I'm here to ask questions. Go to employmentlawyer.ca and ask right now. Thank you so much for joining me. Lior Samfiru, that's me. We'll talk to you again very soon.